Okay, in the do now, you should have checked your unit circle, made sure all of your coordinates are correct and your radians and degrees are correct. Also, I hope you color coded it so that the reference angles match. So for example, this 30 degrees is 30 degrees off the x-axis. 150 is also 30 degrees off. 210 is also 30 degrees off. 330 is also 30 degrees off. So I marked all of those as having green. We use that, remember, because each of these points are the same. They just might be different as far as positive or negative. So make sure you color coordinate all your reference angles. Okay, today we're going to look at how to use this unit circle to evaluate trig functions. So first, let's talk about the unit circle in general. So on the next page, we have some blanks here. It is called the unit circle because the radius, let's get here, radius is 1 unit. Okay. Next part, cosine is represented by blank, sine is represented by blank. So let's go back to what we did on this previous page. And let's look at that 30-degree angle. Cosine is root 3 over 2. So at 30 degrees, that's where we got that root 3 over 2. Sine is 1/2. That's where we got that 1/2. So the x value is cosine, the y value is sine. Should I zoom in some? Probably. So cosine is the x value. Sine is the y value. Now that is super important, so important that I'm going to write it on this side. So x, or let's write cosine of an angle is your x value. Sine of an angle is your y value. Well, now tangent, there's only x or y. So to get tangent, you're doing y over x. You have to take that y coordinate, take the x coordinate, and divide them. Okay, back to our blanks. How many degrees are in a circle? We know is 360. What direction are the positive angles drawn? So to get positive, you're going up, remember, that's counterclockwise. And negative is clockwise. Okay. Oh, sorry. Hang on. Okay. Hopefully I figured out how to mesh two videos together. Otherwise, welcome to part 2. Okay. So now let's actually evaluate. So if I ask you what is the sine of 5 pi over 6, you are going to go to this angle on your unit circle, and sine means what is the y value at that angle. So remember, sine is y. So I'm going to that 5 pi over 6. Oh, here she is. The y value is 1/2. So the sine of 5 pi over 6 is 1/2. When you were in geometry, you would have just typed that in your calculator. Well, your calculator would tell you 0.5, aka 1/2. Hallelujah. Okay, cosine of 5 pi over 3. So cosine this time is the x value. Let's find 5 pi over 3. So flip over 5 pi over 3, 5 pi over 3. Ding, ding, ding. Here she is. Cosine is x. So that's also 1/2. Yay. Okay, sometimes it's not as straightforward. For example, if it's a negative. So sine is still the y value. But if I'm going to go a negative 5 pi over 4, so a positive 5 pi over 4 is 1, 2, 3 quadrants. If you're going negative, you have to go down 1, 2, 3 quadrants. So that would be here. Another way to do this is in your calculator, do that coterminal angle stuff, where you would type in negative 5 pi over 4 and add, remember, 2 pi until you get a positive angle. So here we are for the negative 5 pi over 4. And if I want the sine, I want the y value. So that's root 2 over 2. So we were technically at 3 pi over 4, right? And we got root 2 over 2. Okay, So again, 3 pi over 4. We were just there, but this time we want the cosine, meaning we want the x value. So at 3 pi over 4, the x value is a negative root 2 over 2. Ask your neighbor if they're okay so far. Ask them if they're okay. Okay, great. Let's keep going. All right, we have a sister, 11 pi over 3. I want the y value, the sine. So if I go over here and look for 11 pi over 3, oh, golly gee, I can't find her. I have 11 pi over 6, but I do not have 11 pi over 3. 11 pi over 3 is more than one time around. So you're going to go in your calculator, figure out a coterminal angle where you do 11 thirds minus 2, because I'm going to go backwards, get back on the circle. So if I do 11 thirds minus 2 in the calculator, I get 5 thirds. So I'm really looking at 5 pi over 3. So 5 pi over 3 is sister here. It said it wanted the, what, sine, so the y value, negative root 3 over 2. Let's keep on evaluating. Let's go to 5 pi over 2. Again, this is not something on my unit circle, but I know cosine is the x value. So 5 pi over 2 is almost 2 times around. No, it's not. What's 4? 4 pi over 2 is 2 pi, right? So what you're going to do is 5 pi over 2. Let's subtract 2 pi. Or you can count by halves. Let's count this time. So 5 halves. Here's 1 half, 2 half, 3 half, 4 half, 5 half. So I'm rolling at pi over 2. I want the x value, the cosine. That is 0. Okay, I want y'all to take a second and try 7 and 8. So pause this video and do number 7 and 8 by yourself. Did you pause it? Did you do 7 and 8? Okay, let's check. So for number 7, you had to go negative direction. You should have landed on 2 pi over 3 when you wanted negative 4 pi over 3. And you wanted the x value, so you should have gotten negative 1 half. Same thing here. You had to go in the negative direction, which landed on 4 pi over 3. And the y value, the sine at 4 pi over 3, is negative root 3 over 2. How'd you do? Oh my gosh, good job. Okay, let's keep going. Y value of 15 pi over 4. That's a huge fraction. That is not on my unit circle. So I'm going to subtract 2 pi. So 15 pi over 4 minus 2 pi gives me 7 pi over 4. So that's where I'm really looking. So I want the y value at 7 pi over 4. 7 pi over 4 is here. The y value is a negative root 2 over 2. 7 pi over 6, this one is on the unit circle. We want the x value. 7 pi over 6, x value is negative root 3 over 2. Do y'all get it? It's okay. We're just looking and solving, Oh, sorry. Okay, y'all do 11 and 12. Pause the video, do 11 and 12. Okay, let's check. These were straightforward on the unit circle. The y value at 3 pi over 2 is negative 1. If you're doing the x value of negative pi, well, if you go negative pi, that's the same thing as going positive pi, and the cosine over there is also negative 1. Okay, let's look at some sister tangents. So remember, tangent is y over x. So let's go to 5 pi over 4. That's here. If I do y divided by x, now this seems really stressful and crazy, but when you divide something by itself, when you do negative root 2 over 2 over negative root 2 over 2, well, that's just 1, silly girls. Yay. Okay, we might not be so lucky with negative pi over 3. Up pi over 3 is here, so down pi over 3 would be here. Here's y over x. So negative root 3 over 2 divided by positive 1/2. Now remember, when you're dividing fractions, you keep the top, change to multiplication, and flip the bottom. So that flips, instead of 1 over 2, now it's 2 over 1. If I multiply, that's a negative 2 root 3 over 2. The 2's cancel. You're left with just a negative root 3. Yay, tangent is so fun, right? Okay, let's keep going. We're almost done. Turn the page. Okay, now we just want to look at positives and negatives. I did notice some of you had already filled in this section of the unit circle. Great. Pat on the back to you. But let's go fill this in now. So on your unit circle, you have a positive and a negative section. That's because sine, cosine, and tangent can either be positive or negative. So looking at the x and the y value, remember x is cosine and y is sine. So if they're both positive, I'll have a positive sine, a positive cosine, and to get tangent, you divide them. When you divide two positives, you get a positive. So nothing's negative here. Over here, the y values are positive, so that's sine, and the x values are negative. That's cosine. When you divide a negative by a positive, you get a negative, so tangent is negative. For the third quadrant, they're both negative, so sine and cosine are both negative. But when you divide two negatives, tangent is positive. Okay, last one. The y value is negative, that's sine. X value is positive. When you divide a negative and a positive, you get a negative, so tangent is negative. Now we have a little acronym that helps us remember where each of these is positive. So I'm going to draw my quadrants, my 4 quadrants. And in these quadrants, I'll put A in the first quadrant, S in the second one, T in the third, C in the fourth. This acronym is all students take calculus. Yeah, this acronym tells you who is positive. So in the first quadrant, they're all positive. In the second quadrant, only sine is positive. Third quadrant, only tangent is positive. Fourth quadrant, only cosine is positive. So in the first one, everybody's positive, we don't care. But in these other ones, if it's not positive, that means it's negative. So for example, in the third quadrant, tangent's positive, that means everybody else is negative. So we're going to use that on this next page. So I'm going to draw it right here to take note. All students take calculus. Okay, so reading these inequalities. Sine is greater than 0 and wants sine to be positive. Cosine is greater than 0 and wants cosine to be positive. So let's look first, where is sine positive? In all, so quadrant 1, and sine, quadrant 2. But out of both of these, which one of them is cosine also positive? Well, just quadrant 1. Okay, for this one, tangent is less than 0. We want it to be negative. Cosine is greater than 0. We want it to be positive. So first, let's look at where is tangent negative. So remember, this is where tangent's positive. This is where they're all positive. So tangent is negative in 2 and 4. But out of these two, which one is cosine positive? Well, where the C is, quadrant 4. Okay, one little locum sine is greater than 0. So where is it positive? 1 and 2. Don't forget that A for all. So this one has 2 answers. Okay, this one's a little different. Where is sine equal to cosine? Now remember, sine is an x value, cosine is a y value. So what this is talking about is when the x and the y value are equal. So when they're both root 2 over 2. So this happens in quadrant 1. It happens in one more quadrant. Any ideas where? Whoa, good job. Over here in quadrant 3. They're the same because they're both negative. This doesn't happen in 2 or 4 because only one of them is negative and one's positive. So quadrant 1 and quadrant 3. Y'all try 5 and 6, and then we'll check our answers. Pause the video. Okay, yay, welcome back. So for number 5, you should have gotten 1 and 3. And for number 6, you should have said quadrant 3 and quadrant 4 for sine is less than 0. But if tangent's positive, that's only quadrant 3. Oh my gosh, wow, there you go. Okay, one more thing and then we're done. So previously, I gave you the angle, you had to find the coordinate. This time, I'm giving you the coordinate and you're telling me the angle. So for this first one, where I'm saying, I want the y value, because that's sine. So where on the unit circle is the y value at root 3 over 2? So I'm looking over here. A y value is a positive root 3 over 2. Okay, that happens right here. I want my answer in radians, so I'm going to say pi over 3. This happens again somewhere. Where is the y value a positive root 3 over 2? Negative there, positive here. So also at 2 pi over 3. So I give you the coordinate, you're telling me the angle. So where is the cosine, the x value, a negative root 2 over 2? Well, you need it to be negative, so not on this side. So here and here. That is 3 pi over 4 and 5 pi over 4. Okay, y'all try sine as negative 1/2. Where's the y value in negative 1/2? Look for it on your unit circle. You should have gotten 7 pi over 6 and 11 pi over 6. Yay! Okay, last one, tangent is undefined. So remember, tangent is y over x. Whenever you have an equation, a fraction that's undefined, that means your denominator is 0. So all we're looking for here is where is your x value 0. So that happens here and here. So pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. If it had said it wanted tangent to be 0, then I wanted the y to be 0. So take note, 0 over 1 is 0, but 1 over 0 is undefined. Make sure you know the difference. Okay, you have an assignment in Schoology, a little homework that's due the next class. Next class, we also have a quiz, but I know I haven't seen you in a couple days, so we will review a little bit. Just make sure you know your quiz is basically all of this stuff, like the coterminal, complement, supplement, all those types of things. But again, we'll talk next class when I see you. Just do the assignment for evaluating unit circles. See you Wednesday.